This is 6.0, lesson 3. So for this lesson, we are going to add, subtract, multiply, and divide mixed numbers. And remember, we must do this without calculators. So to add and subtract mixed numbers, it's a good idea to start by changing your mixed numbers to be improper first. So our first problem is 2 2/3 plus 4 3/4. So our first step is to change these to improper. In order to change 2 2/3 into improper, we multiply our denominator times our whole number, so we do 3 times 2, and then we add our numerator. So I say 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8. So this, as an improper fraction, is going to be 8/3. Plus, I do 4 times 4 is 16, plus 3 is 19, so this is 19/4. Now, in order to add or subtract mixed numbers or fractions, we have to have common denominators. As of this point, we do not have common denominators, so we need to figure out what our least common denominator would be. And the smallest number that both 3 and 4 are multiples of is 12. So 12 is going to be our common denominator. So then we think, how do I get my denominator of 3? What do I need to multiply it by to get to a denominator of 12? Well, we need to multiply 3 by 4. But what we have to remember is that we have to multiply top and bottom by the same number. So we already know 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 8 is 32. Plus, we have 19/4. Again, I want a denominator of 12. This time, in order to get 4 to be a denominator of 12, we're going to multiply by 3. Again, we want to do both the numerator and denominator multiplied by 3. Now, we do not know what 19 times 3 is, so we'll need to work that out. So we say 3 times 9 is 27, carry the 2. 1 times 3 is 3, plus 2 is 5. So this is 57/12. So now we go ahead and add our numerators together, 32 plus 57. And that is going to give us 89. And we keep our denominator the same, 12. Now this is not our final answer. We want our final answer to be a mixed number. So in order to change 89/12 to be a mixed number, we have to divide. And we're going to do 89 divided by 12. 12 goes into 89 7 times. 7 times 12 is 84. So I have a remainder of 5. So our mixed number comes from these numbers here. Our whole number is 7. My numerator is my remainder, which is 5. And my denominator was my same denominator, my common denominator from up here, which is 12. And this is our final answer. Be sure to circle or box your answer so I can tell exactly where it is. Letter B, we have 6 2/3 plus 1 4/5. So again, we want to change these to improper first. So for our first one, we do 3 times 6 plus 2. And that's going to give us 20. Let me put it over 3. Plus 5 times 1 plus 4 is 9/5. Now again, we need common denominators. Our common denominator, our least common denominator, is going to be 15. So in order to get my first fraction of a denominator of 15, I will need to multiply by 5/5. So 5 times 3 we already know is 15. 5 times 20 is 100. For my second fraction, 9/5, to get that to have a denominator of 15, I would need to multiply by 3/3. 9 times 3 is 27. So when I add my numerators, I get 127/15. Again, we need to change this to be a mixed number. So I have 127 divided by 15. 15 goes in 127 8 times. 8 times 15 is 120. So when I subtract, my remainder is 7. So my whole number is 8, and my fraction is 7/15. Letter C is 5 1/6 minus 3 3/8. Again, we need to change them to improper first. So I do 5 times 6 plus 1 is 31 over 6 minus 8 times 3 plus 3 is 27 over 8. Even though it's a subtraction, we still need common denominators. Our least common denominator is going to be 24. 24 is divisible by both 6 and 8. So in order to get my first fraction to have a denominator of 24, I would need to multiply by 4 over 4. So we have 4 times 31. We probably don't know what that is, so we'll work that out. 4 times 1 is 4. 3 times 4 is 12. So it's 124 minus, our denominator here is 8. In order to get that to 24, we need to multiply by 3. So we're going to do 27 times 3. 7 times 3 is 21. Carry the 2. 2 times 3 is 6. Plus 2 is 8. So we have 81. Then we need to do 124 minus 81. 4 minus 1 is 3. 12 minus 8 is 4. So I'm left with 43 over 24. So this is where I divide. I do 43 divided by 24. I know 24 goes into 43 only once. So when I take 43 and I subtract 24, I have a remainder of 19. So my final answer, my mixed number, is 1 and 19 over 24. Letter D is 2 3/4 minus 1 5/6. So we're going to make these improper fractions first. 2 times 4 plus 3 is 11 over 4 minus 1 times 6 plus 5 is 11 over 6. Again, we need common denominators. Our common denominator this time is 12. 12 is divisible by both 4 and 6. So to get a common denominator of 12 for my first one, I need to multiply by 3 over 3. 3 times 11 is 33. For my second fraction, to get a denominator of 12, I would have to multiply by 2. So I would get 22 on the top. 33 minus 22 is 11. And I get 11 over 12. That cannot be simplified. It does not get changed to a mixed number. So this is our final answer. So let's switch gears to multiplication. So again, in order to multiply, we must first change to improper. So our first problem is 4 1/3 times 2 4/5. So again, we're going to change to improper. So we'll do 4 times 3 plus 1 gives me 13 over 3. And we're going to multiply that by, we have 2 times 5 plus 4, so it's going to give me 14 over 5. Now the nice thing about multiplication is we don't have to have common denominators. We can do numerator times numerator and denominator times denominator. So this means I'm going to do 13 times 14 to get my top number. So 13 times 14, you can use your multiplication chart, and that's going to give you 182. And then 3 times 5 is 15. Again, we need to make this into a mixed number, so I need to do 182 divided by 15. Well, 15 can actually go into 18 once, and I'm left with 3, and I bring down my 2. 15 can go into 32 twice, and I'm left with 2. At this point, I don't continue because I don't want a decimal as my answer. I want a fraction or a mixed number. So my final answer is going to be 12 and 2 over 15. Letter B is 1 5/8 times 3 1/3. Again, we need mixed number, or I'm sorry, improper fractions first. So 1 times 8 plus 5 is 13 over 8 times 3 times 3 plus 1 is 10, 10 over 3. 13 times 10 is 130. 8 times 3 is 24. So now we need to do 130 divided by 24. We probably don't know how many times 24 goes into 130, so we can do a guess and check method. So I think 24 goes in there maybe about 5 times. So I'm going to guess that, and we're going to check and see how many or what that equals for us. So 4 times 5 is 20, carry the 2. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 2 is 12. So 24 times 5 is 120. That's as close as I can get to 130 without going over. So we're going to subtract that, and I'm left with 10. So this means that my mixed number is 5 and 10 over 24. However, we are not finished. 10 over 24 simplifies. They're both divisible by 2. So 10 divided by 2 is 5, and 24 divided by 2 is 12. So my final answer is 5 and 5 over 12. We're going to skip letter C. Letter D, for dividing, there's a saying that we need to remember, and it is keep, change, flip. Okay, so we're going to use that here in just a second. So our first problem is 4 and 2/5 divided by 1 and 1/4. So again, the first thing we must do is make them improper. So we do 5 times 4 plus 2 is 22 over 5 divided by 4 times 1 plus 1 is 5. So we have 5 over 4. Here's where this comes in. Keep, change, flip. We keep our first fraction. We change our sign. We flip our second fraction. Now this is multiplication like we've done before. So we can do top times top. So 22 times 4 is going to give us 88. And 5 times 5 is 25. Then when I do 88 divided by 25, 25 can go into 88 3 times. It's going to give me 75. And my remainder is 13. So my mixed number is 3 and 13 over 25. Letter B is 2 and 4/5 divided by 1 and 1/4. So again, we need to make them improper. We do 5 times 2 plus 4. It's going to give me 14 over 5 divided by, this is 5 over 4. Again, we're going to keep, change, flip. So we'll keep 14 over 5 times 4 over 5. When we do 14 times 5, I get 56. And 5 times 5 is 25. So to make this a mixed number, I do 56 divided by 25. 25 goes into 56 twice, which is 50. My remainder is 6. So my mixed number is 2 and 6 over 25. And then for this one, we're also going to skip letter C.